Hello, hello, hello. I hope everyone had a fantastic holiday as we approach the New Year's week. I wanted to just come out to you with something a little special and do a market overview of NQ, Nasdaq. Many of you know that I have recently made a switch over to NQ just because she prints like crazy and the volatility is insane, and I'm having a great time over here. So with that being said, I wanted to share with you what I was looking at and just kind of go over some market prep for everybody as we enter next week. Now, next week is going to be a short week again with the New Year's holiday, but we do have a couple days of red tag news, and so it could get a little interesting. So first and foremost, we're going to start high time frame like we always do. Okay, so I'm going to actually pull this up. Let me come over here and show you guys the weekly and RTH weekly and ETH weekly here. Okay, so as you can see on this side is the ETH weekly, RTH weekly. We came up and we basically made this big leg end and we tested it on Thursday. On Friday, we had an insane push down, 500 points, and they really came down and they held this 510 amazingly and ended up popping up about 200 points at the end of the day. We were looking for longs down here, so our thesis was correct. However, even though they've held this weekly leg here, I'm not so certain they're done coming down. We have some serious overhead resistance that we're going to show you here, and I do think it's possible that we still can come down more. And I'm not saying they will, because they've held this fantastic area here. This is a big monster of a weekly. And then the other day when we came down, we played a big, massive daily leg end. However, this, as you know, here is our huge weekly leg. And the actual weekly leg down here is at 20,400, let's call it. This is the Trump pump, guys. This is where it all started. So, can we make our way back to the scene of the crime? I think it's possible. Okay, so we're going to, take it one step at a time and see what happens here. But right now, we're still definitely bullish. There's no question about it. But I'm starting to see weakness once again. So kind of wanted to share my thoughts with you guys in the areas that I'm going to be looking at. Okay, so this is the idea of our weekly here. So please keep in mind we are smacking the weekly leg end, and if they really get below this 21,500, guys, this thing's got some serious issues. Okay, this is going to be my big high time frame line in the sand, the 510. And it's really actually a little bit lower than that. It's about 430, but we'll get into that here shortly. 500 is pretty much it from a high time frame standpoint. Okay, so I always like to talk about the high time frame first and move my way down. So with that being said, now that we've kind of got the weeklies wrapped up here, I'm going to pull over the TPOs. Okay, because you guys know I'm a huge fan of this. All right. This is a great way to find inefficiencies in the market and imbalances and so on and so forth. So this was this big, huge spill down that we had the day that we lost, it was like 1,000 points almost. And then they rocketed back up 700 points. Just a pretty wild week last week. It was just very eventful. Actually, the past 2 weeks have been very eventful. So it's been a lot of fun. This was last week. You can see with this huge 2 weeks ago, we had this massive inefficiency in here for this market. Well, after we opened up right here, they basically have made this push up, as you can see, and we cleaned up this first batch of singles, right? So all this inefficiency has been essentially taken care of. And I know, just for shits and giggles, I'll combine the two. There you go. So now you can kind of see what we're looking at for inefficiencies here. So we have a high volume node at 22,000, which we know that was our high before, and we have this little inefficiency in here, and then we have this inefficiency in here. So we have a massive low volume area in here that really, if price gets above 22,000, we're going to push all the way up into 22,300. So 22,000 is kind of our ceiling for right now, is how I would look at this. It's also a previous weekly point of control, the whole 9 yards. We do have a little bit of inefficiencies in here up until about 880 to 900, and that becomes very important when we talk about levels, which we're going to do right now. Okay, so that is my weekly TPO basically outlook. Okay, so this is how I'm essentially looking at areas that need to be repaired, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so now let's go over to the daily profile when we start piecing together the smaller time frame to kind of see what's going on here. So this was this big, massive push down. They came up, they cleaned up these singles, and then we got another 500 point drop. Okay, so this was Friday and we kind of balanced down here and ended up pushing up, and they ended up leaving a very large selling tail up into 850 that needs cleaned up. And on the weekly also has some singles up into about 805. And I keep pointing these out to you guys, but this is going to become very important when I start to pull out the candlestick charts. Okay, so above 22,000, as we know, we come up here and we clean up these weekly and daily singles. Also, we have this huge bullish imbalance on last week's profile, as you can see here. Okay, and let's not forget the previous week has another massive bullish imbalance, but one step at a time. All right, so we have this bullish imbalance that basically takes us up to clean up all this bullshit. Now, will we get up there? I don't know. Not really sure. I don't think so, but you never know because we're super bullish still. But I'm sensing cracks. I'm sensing weakness. So wanted to share. Obviously, below here, we have another huge inefficiency. Okay, 22,314. This is nothing but singles right here. This needs to get cleaned up. This is a magnet, in my opinion. So price will come down here sooner than later. It will get cleaned up. It's the same way I feel about this 850 spot. Okay, so now that you kind of know we have like an upper range and a lower area that I'm looking for, now let's get into the candlestick charts. Okay, all right, cool. So let me pull this over for you here. So this is the daily, okay? Now I look at both the daily on the ETH side and the RTH side lately, kind of, changed the way I'm doing things a little bit. I used to be all RTH, but I have found that I get great confluence when I mark my daily legs out on the ETH side and on the RTH side to really find the spots that hit home, okay? So, our process is ever evolving. So I love that. I love that's one thing I love about this business is you just continue to grow. And so above us right now this was a huge daily doji, and we smacked this weekly real nice, 22,000. And just so you guys can see, we had a weekly. If you recall, I brought the weekly over here, 22,055. Now I'm going to go ahead and overlay the weekly, monthlies, and so as you can see now I overlaid everything on this chart, which is the ETH side and the monthly side. So you can see we came up here, 055 was the RTH weekly, 082 was the ETH, basically played it perfect, and we're starting to come down. Okay, now the thing is we're holding this massive 21,500 area, and this has already been tested, and it's now been tested twice. You can clearly see it got tested here, and now it's been tested here. Okay, same as here. Okay, so do I think this thing can hold? It definitely can. This is a monster structure. Okay, it's a monster. But if I sense any weakness up in here, I'm trying to short the shit out of this thing. And the areas that I'm really looking at are 21,805 and 21,910. Okay, and you'll notice in the cheat sheets I showed both of these areas, and really once you get above 910 you're pretty much on cruise control to the upside. If you can't get above 805, you're probably going to come all the way down to this 430 area. Okay, now the thing is if you get above 805 we could easily come to 910. So we got this little area, this gray space in here where it becomes like you got to stay on the swivel, stay on the pivot. If they get above, look for 805 for the smack. If it doesn't work, then just get long for the next 100 points and look for a reaction around 910. Again, they could easily hold this and continue to make another new all-time high. I just don't think so. But that's my personal opinion. Okay, so this was a big red doji here. We have another really kind of bearish candle in my opinion. But again, the weekly didn't lose. The daily technically it lost the sub leg, which was good enough for me, and we have not regained. Okay, so we've lost on the daily time frame right now, and we have not gained. So in my opinion, this is still, potentially coming down. We haven't lost on the weekly, but we absolutely lost on the 4 hour. We lost on the daily. This thing's starting to look pretty weak to me. So as we come up and 805, 803 gets smacked, I'm trying to get short, and the same applies for 910. Again, I just got to stay on swivel because above 803, 805, we could push up another 100 points, and I'm certainly not going to swallow all that. So with that being said, that's kind of how I'm looking at this daily time frame here. Now, I'm going to get rid of all these lines here, but I wanted to show you like this area here is a huge weekly resistance. We have like this little sleeper daily, which I do not like particularly, but I'm certainly not going to ignore it. I think they could sweep these lows and then ended up basically, squeeze back up a little bit, but I don't know for sure. I have it here because I don't know. And, part of this game is just, being, how do you want to say, being able to pivot when you need to pivot, being able to not stuck in a bias and just being open to the idea that This may happen if that doesn't happen. And so from a daily perspective, I mean, I'll be frank. I mean, this is, again, one more time. I mean, I showed you on the weekly. This is the massive leg, okay? So right now we've got a few subs in here, and I'll show you where they're at. It went like this, and it goes like this, and that. And so we essentially have one sub leg that we lost that daily leg up. Right now we're playing this, which we've already played right here. Okay, it's the leg end. Okay, you can see it, right? Now, the only thing left, really, unless they're going to continue to push up, is to actually come down or come down from here and play this massive daily leg. All right, it's a weekly leg as well. This is a great spot. This is the pre-election move here. Okay, so, you know, I do think that this area gets some serious liquidity. If we get all the way down in here, by the time we get down in here, the 200-day moving average is down here. As you can see, the 50-day and the 100-day are starting to cruise up, but the 200-day should probably get in our spot by the time we get down there, if we do, in fact, come down there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hide the other drawings just to kind of clean it up a little bit and to show you guys what's up. So I have this other support area right here at 210 and 270. It's there. I'm just going to say that. It's there. How do I feel about it? It could get a reaction. I do not love it. Why don't I love it? The reason I don't love it is because this area here, this daily that played the leg end, which is right here, okay? You can't see it because this is the RTH chart. Here, we actually, you know what, just to make things clear for you. This daily leg end right here that we popped up, we didn't gain anything. We went all the way up here, and they couldn't gain this support. Now, I know you're probably thinking, well, Jesus, it fucking went like 1,000 points, dude. What do you want? Well, unfortunately, that's just the way it works. And I do recognize the fact that we did close above 803 and 910, but they just simply didn't gain the daily that was lost. And so no matter how you look at it, it's a loss, all right? So I'm just, like I said, I mean, they did close above some serious shit. So could they continue higher? Absolutely. But that's why we have these two levels here that we're going to be leaning on. And then the 692 is our sub leg to the high. You could use this as a above below level for kind of just confluence or assuredness that, you know, it's going to, if it gets below this, I mean, we're coming down. Okay, so that's why this is on here. This is why it's red. It's absolutely tested. I do not plan on it playing again, but I do surely use it for a level to monitor if I'm above or below. Okay, so with that being said, you know, 692 is big, and then even though this has been tested a couple times, if I'm short, I'm taking profits here too. I'm not going to ignore it. Okay, and then obviously below our 500 area here, we're going to come down into these, the 270s, 210 spots, which I don't like. Will I be looking for a reaction? Yeah, I'll be looking for a reaction. I do think that they could potentially get some love, but I don't think this is the end all, or the save all, but it could be. I mean, we could do this number. Absolutely could. Again, like I said, it's just about staying open and staying flexible, and just knowing that they're there and seeing what happens, okay? But ultimately, I think this is the goal down here. All right, so that is what I got for the daily time frame, people. So let's see what kind of picture this gives us here. Same schnizzle. Let's see where this lies. 450. So kind of like right in the middle of all this. Here, let's see what this little blue line carries over here. Yep, right here. So we got the RTH at 482. We've got the ETH at 450. We got the RTH weekly at 494. This is all good stuff, and just because we're marking them, hell, we might as well do this one too. Let's just I'll just steal this one and bring it over. Which one's lower? 47.44. There we go. 387.25. Basically the same price as our RTH daily that we brought over from here. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that. I mean, we're only talking 10 points, and in Q, hell, what's 10 points, right? So there you go. That is what I'm looking at here, guys. I'm going to go ahead and pull over some smaller time frame stuff just because, and I will admit, they are a little messy, okay? You know, they are hard to decipher simply because we have been in this range, you know, for quite some time. I mean, it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks worth of price action in here, okay? So that's a lot of levels that we have to, you know, contend with. And, you know, this is what it looks like once I've overlaid everything on my chart. But with that being said, it still will make sense once I walk you through this, okay? I have both that 803 and 805 daily here, and we have a set of singles, as well as a 4 hour at 765. if they were to come up in here and clean up this 805, play this daily and clean up this 805 singles, I'm getting short. And especially if we get below 765, that would be my confirmation here, guys. Okay, so I will fucking add into this thing below here, take profits here, and then start taking profits in here, and then probably get flat around 440. I do think 440 can wick these lows, create what's called a failed breakdown. There is an untested 4-hour and daily here. We could come down and play this and squeeze back up. How far, I don't know, but I certainly am not going to ignore this. I've been monitoring this. I thought we were going to make it happen this day, and it didn't. So with that being said, a double tap's even better for me now. If they want to do that, I'm going to be very aware, which is why I said I'll probably get flat into 440, and then if we get really below 430, the downside continuation continues. And we've got singles all the way into 314. We've got those dailies down here, 270, 210. There's some untested 4 hours down here. There's a lot of support structure down here. So again, do I think this area can hold? I definitely think it can play. Can it hold? I don't know. I mean, honestly, I think they could do like this. Come right back up to here and then shit. But that's me. I mean, this 500 is a massive spot, and you guys should put this on your chart for above or below. This is going to signify whether we are bullish or bearish pretty much on a weekly or / high time frame level. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal for us. Okay. And I think I'll just leave it at there. I mean, below that, I have a 4-hour down here at 676 that I actually really like. It's untested. Nice little sweep here. It's got a nice shoulder. I'll definitely be buying that. Even though I'll be looking for lower, I think this is just one of those plays that they're going to play. They're going to get. So, and down here, if we end up coming all the way down here, you can see I marked this blue because I wanted to emphasize how good of a spot this was. But we've got a naked POC, 1, 2 of them in this zone, as well as a 4-hour that was gained and never tested, which is huge. I teach this in my course. And then these 2 untested dailies down here as well, and this weekly. So this is a big ass spot, and you know, in all honesty, this is a huge, massive leg end. It really is. So, you know, come down in here, let me buy you, and that would probably be I don't want to call it a durational buy, but it would probably be a long for quite some time if we're able to play and hold that spot. So that is what I got for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed that. I could pull over the 1 hour, but it's just as cloudy. You can see right here that this is the 805. This is the 4-hour. I also, if you notice, this is a 1 hour, so it's not only a 4-hour, it's a 1 hour, which is another reason why I said, I mean, if this level just flat out doesn't reject it, if we end up coming up here and playing this and getting back below 763, this is an ad, 100% ad. So, but again, you know, it's very possible they could come up here and flirt with this. They want to fill in this single, and then we can come and smack from 910. I like this spot from 910 a lot. You know, I can't decide which one I like better, to be quite frank with you. Do I like the 910 or the 805? Well, I don't really know. I was mapping this out yesterday, and you could see I even was like, you know, drawing these legs and trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, well, this is like where this pivot is here. This is good. You know, 910 looks great. But I also like this 805 spot a lot. We got a great touch here, which provided a couple 100-point smack. And then we ended up playing it the other day for a long. I mean, 805 back tested perfectly right here and got long, and even on the daily time frame right here. So look right here. So not only did they smack it here and come down 200 points, but once they gapped above it, they opened and back tested it and went all the way up to the weekly. So this area, this level has been played twice and played perfectly on both sides. So why wouldn't it play again? It's been reset. It's now untested again. So again, like I said, even though I like the way the structure looked on the 910 probably the best, 805 has played twice perfectly on each side. And so I'm certainly not going to ignore this level. I'd be crazy to. And I think you would be as well. So that's what I got for you guys. I hope that everybody has had a great holiday, and hope you take this information and you make some paper. So in the meantime, you guys be good, and let's conquer these markets. Cheers.